Welcome to EBS, another episode of Come Sit With Us. Very happy to have you here with us today, as always. Today, talking about something that I read recently from a Buddhist nun, American nun, who I think that if you guys study Buddhism a little bit, may be familiar with. That's Pema Chodron, I believe I'm saying that correctly. And she's been around for quite a while, and I like her. In fact, you can listen to her on YouTube, and I like to listen to her talk because she has a very practical point of view, if you will, I think, and speaks, particularly because she's Western, I guess, maybe it just makes it that much more accessible to me in understanding some of the concepts that she's talking about. One of the things that she has talked about before is this practice of breathing that is, I think it's called Tonglen, if I'm correct. And that is the process of breathing in, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, breathing in pain and suffering, and breathing out healing. And it's interesting because a lot of us want to protect ourselves from pain and suffering. We don't want to invite it into our home, if you will. We kind of want to keep it out. And so we're really good at building walls to keep pain out. And in fact, it's just what we naturally tend to do. If we have over-practiced this art, then we have so many walls built around us that we can't let anything in, much less try to get anything out after a while. And so this particular breathing exercise, to me, has kind of strikes me as lowering the walls and feeling safe and letting in that pain, that suffering, that whatever it is, and then let it process through you and come back out as a healing, if you will. And I think that, you know, for how to say it, all of us can recognize pain and suffering around us in some way, shape, or form. All you got to do is watch the news and you'll see it out there in spades. Sometimes because of our occupation, we see it around us. I worked in a hospital setting for a number of years and certainly saw a lot of pain and suffering. And with our friends, our loved ones, we are so attuned to their suffering that, you know, it may weigh heavy on our hearts at times and on and so forth. Sometimes, though, it's harder to see the pain and suffering inside of us, our pain and suffering, because we have done really a pretty good job sometimes of building the walls to protect ourselves to the point to where even we can't see our own pain and suffering in extent. And I'm not really talking about getting all down and out because of just a variety of circumstances you might be in or whatever your situation might be, as much as truly understanding your basic nature of how you see yourself, how you see the world, how you see others. And so again, this practice of Tonglen is opening our hearts and minds up to what we see around us, the pain and suffering, and bringing on a healing. The healing can happen to us. It can happen to the person that we have in front of us, and it doesn't matter. It's almost like if one occurs, the other will follow, meaning that if I see someone else's pain and suffering and I hold that in my meditative thought and feel that healing extending out to them, in a sense, then maybe what's also happening is I'm also having a healing extending to me, too. And so it kind of ends up being a very two-way street. I'd like to read something, if I could, and this is from Pema, and she says that the most significant training is to keep the heart and mind open. And in doing this, the Tonglen practice is a good vehicle. The idea of Tonglen practice is that instead of closing your heart, you take all the suffering in. You allow it to come in. By taking in suffering, you literally breathe in with the idea that you could move forward toward the suffering. Let it come through you, in a sense. Breathing it in is the same thing as leaning in towards it. She's very much into leaning in towards some circumstances of your daily life. So you breathe this pain, you breathe the suffering in. And when you breathe out, you send some kind of spaciousness or well-being or healing to everyone. And she says it's quite a personal experience. And so today that we're going to give that a practice a little bit. Now, just the idea, and this is kind of interesting, is that you probably can think of someone in your life that needs help, support, healing, okay? Hold that person's image in front of you and breathe in their suffering. Take it all in. Just allow it just to come in and just fill you, if you will. All right? Kind of have to use your imagination a little bit, but if you feel that just coming in, going through you, and then breathing out, healing to them. Okay? Now, here's what I found. We're going to try this maybe for about 10 minutes, okay? And in that 10-minute period, probably the first minute, we're kind of warming up to it. The second minute or two, we have that person in mind, and we're trying to see them in front of us and see that pain and suffering, feel it coming into us, and feel it, and we're doing that. And then our mind floats away. And then we come back, we think, well, who else can I focus on? You think of someone else. And then you focus on them maybe for the next 30 seconds until your mind starts to float away a little bit, and on and so forth. And so in the space of 10 minutes, you kind of can cover a whole community, if you will. But today's thought is to settle on one person during that whole 10-minute period of time. So each time that our mind drifts, we come back to that person and just stay with them, okay? And in a sense, to me, it's like holding them in a state of meditation during this period of time, okay? And that maybe if we practice this, we get the sense that maybe there's not there's not Steve doing this. It is a process that is happening naturally, and maybe I'm providing the vehicle, but I'm not doing it anymore. And that's kind of a neat place to be in too, if you will. So let's try to stick with one person, okay, during this 10-minute period. And as always, try to visualize the process as clear as possible. And when you see it happening, bringing in their pain through you, bringing out the healing from you to them, when you see that happening, then you also perhaps can feel the process occurring, okay? And then that starts to make it something that's more than just an intellectual practice or whatever, but makes it an actual process that's occurring before you. Just getting that feeling, just let that, kind of circulate. So we'll give all that a try, if you will. All right? So let's start off with our meditation, as we always do, and that is we just kind of sit straight, attentive, if you will. Every time when we're in groups, we talk about, our posture. Everyone starts making adjustments. The whole room starts doing this and getting all ready and such. And so you kind of have that sense of your body being attentive, getting ready to attend to something very important, okay, in that sense. And so you feel your body, you feel that posture that you're in, good posture we hope, and then you start to breathe a little bit. And when I say that, I mean you start to take in a few cleansing breaths. And as you do, the awareness of your physical form becomes a little bit more fine-tuned, maybe. Maybe you have that bit of awareness of little stressors that your body's holding on to. Maybe your lower back is like that, or maybe your stomach's a little bit tight, whatever it might be. You're not trying to do anything with this. All you're doing is just wanting now to breathe and take it in and have that awareness there. We'll go ahead and try that. We'll get that focused. With me, I close my eyes and I start to relax and I start to breathe a little slower, a little longer in, and become aware of my physical self. And as I do that, I then begin to have an awareness of the space around me, of the space that I'm sitting in, and I just feel that awareness grow a little bit with each breath. As that awareness grows, I then shift my focus to the base of my spine. We're going to just do a simple body scan to the base of my spine, my pelvic area. I'm just going to breathe, take some deep breaths, and just relax. And just allow that area to open up a little bit. I'm going to shift my attention into my stomach, my lower back. And as I focus there and as I breathe, I just allow it to open up, to release, just to relax. Take a deep breath in, and now I bring my attention up to my heart, my chest, between my shoulder blades. And as I breathe out, I allow this area to open up, just to relax, just to release. Now I take another deep breath in and bring my attention up to my forehead. As I breathe out, I just relax my brow, relax my muscles of my jaw, just allow that area just to open up. All right, for the next 10 minutes, what we're going to do is find someone who's in our life that is in need of healing, of helping. And we're just going to become aware of that need. And we're going to see them sitting in front of us. And with each breath we take in, we bring in their pain, their sorrow. We allow that to come in, to come through us. And as we breathe out a healing energy to them. We do this open-mindedly, without judgment. Just allow that process just to occur. Okay, take a deep breath. Bring your awareness back to the room you're in, the chair or cushion you're sitting in. If your eyes are closed, open them. So an interesting exercise to do. Sometimes we have to have that kind of persistence of focus to carry through with it. And because, of course, what happens in meditation, your mind always drifts, wants to go everywhere, and you bring it back, gently bring it back to focus, bring it back to focus. And for me, I found that I had to almost say it to myself. Breathe in their pain, breathe out their healing. Breathe in their pain, breathe out their healing. And once that happened, was much more kind of there with the process. And a couple of things that felt like to me is when I breathe in that pain, which to me I think is just being more cognizant of the hurt they are going through. And as my awareness of that increases, then I am more there with them. And so after a bit, I almost felt like I'm kind of, my job that was to stand by their side and offer compassion to them without judgment. And be that steadfast person that is with them in their fight, if you will. That's kind of what, I'm sure for you, you had your own stories, your own impressions that maybe came through. And if you do have a particular feeling or thought, it's worth writing that down sometimes and coming back and revisiting that a little bit and just kind of work with that, because sometimes those thoughts are seeds. And if we just pay attention to them and water them, then those seeds grow a little bit, and we have maybe a deeper understanding of the process that we are all involved in, and that is something that I think is very beneficial. The other thing that occurred to me is to be able to meditate on the fly. Is kind of what we think of it sometimes. In that, I'm thinking of this person, and I think, next time I'm with her, and we're hanging out and talking or shooting the breeze or whatever, I'm going to make a point to recall this practice with the focus of her being there. And so maybe as we're talking, and just how was your day, what went on and so forth, there's that back part of my mind that is recalling that, reaching out to them with compassion and standing by them, resolute as they go through their pain and their suffering, and such. And I like that thought because I like to meditate on the cushion, but I also like to take that meditation and with me throughout the day, and then occasionally consciously reach back in and step into that space for a second as I'm standing there with them. So a good practice, to try. This, as with all meditations, again, if something rings true for you, then pay attention to it and learn from it, because you are your own best teacher if we just pay attention. And, that's not a bad thought to have some days, all right? So guys, thank you very much for being part of this today, for being part of EVS and part of our meditative online family. And hopefully in the near future, we'll see you here. But for those of you that live too far away, we will always be reaching out to you through Facebook or through Zoom or whatever it all might be. So thank you again, and take care, and have a good day. See you. Bye.